There are more than 62 million Latinos living in the U.S., and in 2020, a record-breaking number of Hispanic voters hit the polls for the presidential election, 18.7 million. That means about 1 in 10 voters was Latino. But there is still lots of work to do. At least 12 million Latinos in the U.S. are eligible to vote but aren't yet registered. So why the gap? Join KSAT News Now Thursday at 11 a.m. for a conversation with Antonio Arellano, a young civil rights advocate who's ignited thousands of new voters. We'll talk about why it's important for the community to make their voice heard, not just in these big elections, but also in state and local elections too.
What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday. Hump Day. Yes, definitely. Welcome to KSAT News Now, coming to you from the KSAT 12 newsroom. Erica is back in the saddle with us this morning. Yeah, and you got called up a little bit late, but you're here. You're ready to go.
I'm here. I'm ready to go. We got a lot to talk about today, though.
Yes, we do. And of course, Erica, I know that you have a lot of things going on in your department. Have a couple. What are you working on just for later on this afternoon?
Later on this afternoon, we're going to listen into a hearing, expecting some information, hopefully, on a case that we covered a couple weeks ago where a woman was arrested for abusing 2 children. They were found hogtied, and we'll have more on that hearing, hopefully, later this afternoon. When we listen in around 1:30, that hearing. Okay, yeah, that was a big story, of course, across our area about a week ago, right?
Yes. That was the case. All right, Erica, so we will continue to follow that. And of course, this morning on KSAT News Now, we have a lot going on. We have the latest in Bastrop after that major wildfire there. And then free at-home COVID tests are now available, and people are rushing online to get these.
Yeah, exactly. And Dak is doing some apologizing this morning.
Oh, man, Dak.
And the Majestic busting out the abuelita sayings to hopefully help us get through these tough times.
Yes.
But first, we have some weather coming.
Oh, yes, definitely. And we have Sarah here with us to kind of break it all down for us. And Sarah, good morning. Before we kind of get going here with your forecast, we asked people on Instagram if they had any questions for you about this upcoming weather. And we had one here from YR Gem. She said, will it be dangerous, icy weather?
Well,
so that seems to be the biggest question.
Great question. And that pretty much, I can give the entire forecast off of that one question there. So one thing I want to start off with to answer that question is there is a winter storm watch, which will be in effect starting tomorrow from 6 a.m. all the way through Thursday into the early morning hours of Friday, 6 a.m. until Friday, 6 a.m. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what this winter storm watch means. You know, when we say the word winter storm, probably the first thing that pops up in your mind is the winter storm last year, you know, with the lot of snow that we saw, a ton of ice. This time, though, winter storm watch actually means light icy glazing on bridges and overpasses, as well as wind chills in the teens. So not as intense as last year, but it is something that we want to be careful about because, again, those bridges and overpasses, those are the things that will make it a little dangerous on the roads there. And this is not different than anything we've been forecasting over the last few days. We continue with the forecast of a little bit of icing after 6 a.m. tomorrow around San Antonio, particularly on the bridges and the overpasses. So hopefully that answers your question there. There could be some dangerous icing, but just mainly on the bridges and overpasses. Now, let me take you through the FUTURECAST because we're going to get a cold front tonight. It's going to be a warm day today. We're going to get up to near 80 degrees today, so the ground is going to be warm. That's one of the reasons why we don't anticipate a lot of issues with ice is because the ground is going to be so warm from today's warm weather. But after that front moves through at 8 p.m., temperatures are going to plummet. By the start of the early morning hours tomorrow, we'll be in the 30s with wind chills in the teens. Yes, a very big change. And then take a look at the high-res FUTURECAST here. This is tomorrow at 6 a.m. right when that winter storm watch begins. Notice that we could have a few flurries up in the hill country, maybe even some sleet pellets as well. And then around 6 a.m. in San Antonio, freezing drizzle is possible, but it should be fairly light. And again, it's later after 6 a.m. that we'll see a bit more widespread wintry mix around San Antonio. As you can see on the FUTURECAST here, this is Thursday afternoon. So early morning commuters, you probably won't have that many issues on the roads around San Antonio, but the afternoon commuters, that's where I could see us having some issues on the bridges and overpasses tomorrow. As you can see in the FUTURECAST, a wintry mix of mainly freezing rain and mainly sleet, perhaps a few snowflakes mixed in there as well. And then let me take you through, this is right at about 5 p.m. Thursday. As you can see, there's still a little bit of a mix around the San Antonio area, but all of the KSAT 12 viewing area could see a light mix as well. Then by Friday morning, that'll be south of us. What's interesting is that the Valley, RGV, and also Laredo could end up with actual snowfall, while here in San Antonio we'll be dealing with that wintry mix. Again, a reminder that it's also going to get really windy behind the front too, so wind gusts will occur on Thursday morning up to about 40 miles per hour. That means a wind chill in the teens and 20s in San Antonio. So it's going to be very cold. So if your kids are planning on going to school tomorrow, you're really going to want to bundle them up. And of course, we won't know information about school closures until pretty much right up until the last minute. So you can continue to check in with us at ksat.com, and online we'll have information for you there about those things. So just to summarize everything I just said, a light wintry mix tomorrow. We're not expecting a February 2021 snowstorm, but this is going to be enough to be a bit of a nuisance and potentially cause some issues with slick spots on bridges and overpasses. We'll stay below freezing for maybe up to 24 hours, which is enough to ruin your sensitive vegetation, but it's not enough to destroy any kind of sago palms or palm trees or anything like that, like what we saw last year when we were below freezing for 107 hours. We are going to get down to 26 early Friday morning. Again, we could have a light mix overnight Thursday into Friday as well, but then Friday after 6 a.m. we're really going to see skies clear, and we'll actually warm up to above freezing fairly quickly there. We'll be in the 40s on Friday. Still a cold forecast for us, but just not going to be below freezing for all that long. So I made this graphic simple enough. Here's what you can plan for: light freezing rain and sleet after 6 a.m. on Thursday. The main concern is going to be the bridges and overpasses, and then finally the windy and cold weather. Wind chills are going to be in the teens, and it's going to feel like it's near 20 degrees. So yeah, again, we're going to be seeing a bit of a different change for us because of the cold front arriving tonight. But do you guys have any questions about the forecast or anything?
Well, Sarah, I'm glad you asked, because I asked people on Facebook Live right now. People are asking, how strong will the winds get? I know that's something that you just discussed.
Yeah, wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour from the north, especially during the first part of Thursday. But it's not going to be as gusty as this past Saturday.
Okay.
We had wind gusts of up to nearly 60 miles per hour this past Saturday for an extended period of time.
But still enough to make it really cold.
Yes, exactly, Erica.
And what about overpasses? We always talk about those, things like highways and things, flyovers, things of that nature. What do you kind of anticipate there, Sarah?
Well, we know that TxDOT is treating some of the roads today, so that's some good news there. Now, the big flyovers, I think if you can avoid them tomorrow, you absolutely should. I mean, there's a lot of frontage roads where you can avoid those flyovers and things like that. If you can avoid them tomorrow, especially after 6 a.m., I would say do so, but just be very, very slow. I saw something, on Twitter one time. It was like, imagine your grandma, your abuelita is in the back seat carrying a huge pot of chili. That's how you should drive.
Some caldo for tomorrow.
Some caldo, yes. You want to make sure that you don't make that spill.
I've never heard that. That is great advice. Yeah, just imagine like someone's
that's the way you drive. All of those overpasses.
Yeah, no, that's great advice.
Any more questions?
No, I think we're good, Sarah.
Okay.
I'm sure that many people will be responding to our Facebook Live here. So
get the weather app too.
Yes.
The weather app will go
absolutely.
live right from the weather app.
Yeah, definitely. So we will hear more from our meteorologist as we get ready for this weather event coming our way. So thank you very much, Sarah, for sharing all that information with us.
Yeah, so staying with the weather-related news, fire officials up the road in Bastrop County still working to contain a major wildfire. Officials just gave an update this morning, RJ.
Yeah, so we are now up to 783 acres that have burned, but it is now, this wildfire is 30% contained, so that's up from 10%.
Well, it was 0, then 10,
yes,
and now 38, so they are making some headway.
I think the last time, so when officials gave some information yesterday, they said it was at 10%, but we've of course seen more acres burn overnight here.
Yeah, so crews made good progress overnight, like you just said, and there has been some lifting of those evacuations. About 250 families had to be asked to evacuate as a precaution. People will still see heavy smoke in that area and hot spots as well right now.
Yeah, you could see that, obviously that video there, but about a dozen people spent the night at a area evacuation center there up in Bastrop. And again, this all started because it was supposed to be a controlled burn, supposed to be 150 acres that was burning.
And it was, I think what I read, looking at an article right now, is it started at 10:30. By noon, they realized it had gone further beyond the controlled burn area. So I know they're investigating, still trying to figure out just how that happened. When you have a controlled burn, it's supposed to stay within an area, but something happened that it caused it to spread even further.
Yeah, so we will continue to follow this story. And again, that press conference that officials just gave, we have that posted on KSAT.com. All right, some other big news this morning, Erica, and it's of course COVID.
Yeah,
that's what everyone's talking about here. So we're going to run through some of the latest headlines now. First of all, here at home, Metro Health just reported a COVID-19 positivity rate of 38.3%. That is up 7% from last week's 31%.
Yeah, so people are scrambling for COVID tests. There is some relief on the way. The site to order free in-home tests from the government is now up and running. It was supposed to launch today, but people were able to start ordering those tests yesterday. I think I did. I don't know if you did.
I did as well. I mean, you know, I saw on social media, people were saying they're like, hey, the site's up. And the good thing is that I just actually went to the site a little while ago when we were talking about it, because we were like, I wonder if this thing's going to crash.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's still up. So again, you can order 4 free tests through covidtest.gov, and it looks like, again, the site's still up. There will not be any shipping costs related to these in-home tests.
And the Biden administration will start shipping 400 million free non-surgical N95 face masks to distribution sites across the country this week. You'll be able to pick those up at pharmacies, community centers, and more locations. Another thing I kind of wanted to add, community labs this morning announced that they will be temporarily suspending COVID-19 testing tomorrow due to the weather. So that is from, they consulted, they just want to make sure everybody stays safe. Public testing will be suspending at community labs, public testing locations, and I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 10 locations.
Yeah. Oh, well, and that's a very important information. Obviously, they don't want people out in the roads just feeling like they have to go get these COVID tests. So there is also the new federal site. I was at the Alamo Dome yesterday. I believe Max has been is going to follow up on this story today for us for KSAT 12 or later newscast. So it's a free federal testing site, and you do have to sign up for an appointment and register there with the city of San Antonio. So there's a lot going on, a lot of people getting tested, but hey, we're trying to, you know, get things back to normal here and get Omicron out of our lives.
You know, we start seeing a decrease in cases, so we're going to definitely keep an eye on that in the coming days. But there's also a lot going on this morning with 5G and airlines. I'm still a little confused about this, RJ.
I am too, actually. This has been sort of this ongoing dispute. So with 5G and these international airlines, they actually canceled a bunch of flights overnight, Erica, that were heading to the U.S. or basically just put people on other planes that they're using as part of this dispute.
Okay.
Yes.
This is
all what this is about here.
So this is all part of the dispute over concerns that new 5G mobile phone service could interfere with aircraft technology. It wasn't immediately clear why the airlines made those decisions, because mobile carriers AT&T and Verizon agreed this week to pause the rollout of 5G service near major airports.
Yeah, they had been kind of going back and forth, but apparently these international airline officials said that they received warnings from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration that some of these planes that they use would be affected by the new service. And again, I am just trying to figure out like why that's the case. I mean, people technically use their phones all the time and devices on planes nowadays. What's I don't know.
I don't know.
Like someone
this is
to explain
something
this.
I don't clearly understand very well.
Yeah. Is it going to stop me from watching a movie? Probably not.
So It's you if something happens.
I know. No.
Way to go.
Gotta pass the time somehow.
It's been a rough couple of days for Dak, Cowboys quarterback. Had to do some backtracking for some comments he made Sunday night.
All right, so let's set this up here a little bit. So obviously the Cowboys, tough loss there to the 49ers on Sunday.
Still hurts.
You know, they were upset about the officials, and then fans started throwing things onto the field as the officials are running off. Dak basically kind of said like, well, yeah, I sort of agree with that sort of sentiment. So he tweeted yesterday, he said he deeply regrets the comments he made about these officials on Sunday. He said he was caught up in the emotion of that disappointing loss, and his words were uncalled for and unfair. So again, he was asked about fans throwing things to refs, and he was kind of like, well, I don't blame him, sort of deal. Yeah, and here's more of his tweet.
Yeah, he said, I hold the NFL officials in the highest regard and have always respected their professionalism and the difficulty of their jobs. The safety of everyone who attends a game or participants on the field of a sporting event is a very serious matter. And he ends it with, that was a mistake on my behalf, and I am sorry. So this got a lot of attention after he said it.
Ooh, it did, because I think people were kind of like, really? Why is he saying that it's okay for the fans to throw things at officials or anyone, which is just absolutely not. No. We've seen people get hurt.
I understand being caught up in the game and being upset with the loss. I mean, I was a fan. I was upset at the loss, but
you weren't throwing things. You weren't throwing your TV.
No. I may have turned it off a little earlier, but I didn't throw it.
Yeah, so I wonder if the NFL is still going to find Dak, so we will see what happens there. But Dak is doing a little backtracking.
Yes,
for those comments there. Also, Eric, I wanted to mention.
I'm so surprised by this.
I was going to say, are you a big Bryn Forbes fan?
Well, I mean, I'm a big Spurs fan, so I mean, I thought he was a great. He was added back because he was with the Spurs and added back to the Spurs, and then he's gone again.
Yeah, so the news overnight, Bryn Forbes has apparently been traded to the Denver Nuggets.
And for what?
For just a guy.
A guy.
Juancho Hernangomez. But Bryn Forbes came back this year, re-signed with the Spurs. He hasn't even had like half his lease.
Poor guy.
I don't even know if he's fully moved in.
Were there trade rumors for him out there? Okay, so he was already kind of up
he was out there
in the talks.
Yeah. So
I was still a little surprised by it. I liked Bryn Forbes. I thought he was he's a great addition.
He's a good veteran guy, but I think this is the full-on youth movement here for the Spurs. So some news there for Bryn Forbes.
Well, the Majestic Theater is hoping to spread some healing power to San Antonio.
This is a great story here. So right now on their marquee outside, they have posted the words, this is in Spanish, Sana Sana Colita de Rana, which most might know as the Latino saying to help out with those boo-boos and colds. Yeah. Is that what you tell your daughter?
Yeah. Oh, my grandmother always used to tell me that. Like she would, be like, if you scraped yourself, she might as well have taken the egg out and we could just rub it all over San Antonio as well. Majestic Theater also posted a sign on Instagram with the post saying, a message of hope and healing, San Antonio.
That's right, yeah. And so, first of all, I mean, I love this sign because it does kind of represent the times we're in. I'm surprised they didn't put on the bottom there, Ponle Vicks, nomás Ponle Vicks.
Get a Vicks and a 7-Up.
Rub some Vicks on your chest or something like that.
7-Up, and I have a coffee mug that says that too. I remember I used to, when COVID started, I drank out of that coffee mug, making sure I didn't get it as well. And I mean, it's been something that's, I think we kind of all grew up with here in South Texas and beyond.
Absolutely, yeah. And anything that helps with any sort of positive vibes right now is good stuff.
And it's a good laugh. I mean, I think we just really need to try to relax and hopefully we're going to get through this.
Yeah, shout out the Majestic for that. And kind of looking through some Facebook Live comments here.
Everybody's asking about the weather.
Everyone's asking about the weather.
I mean, I get it. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. We still don't really know a lot about what could happen. I know people are asking about possible school closures, but like Sarah said, we really won't know until something happens tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. So we appreciate the comments right here. Robbie Castaño says, thank you for this weather update. So Robbie, thank you for chiming in on Facebook Live. Also want to mention that we also have a new podcast, the KSAT News Now weekday podcast. So all the fun that you're seeing here, all the good times that you're seeing here is now podcast.
How do you subscribe for that?
So basically, you just have to go to like iTunes, Spotify. So we're pretty much in all the places, yes, where you would regularly find podcasts. Just search KSAT News Now and boom, subscribe, like, rate.
All right.
And listen,
I already added
it. And listen, that's the most important part of it. Erica, thank you again for being with us this morning. You getting ready for this weather?
Yes, I have my Uggs out, ready to go. I'm going to have to get my jacket, make sure my kiddos are prepared tomorrow and all bundled up, because that's the thing I'm not really looking forward to, is that drop off in the morning when it's so cold and I actually get out of my vehicle and walk her in. I'm just, it's going to be cold.
Get the kiddos ready.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it, guys.
And we're going to be talking about this at the KSAT News at noon, icy road preps as we get set for this weather headed our way. So thanks again, guys, for being with us on KSAT News Now. You guys have a great Wednesday.